Okay, let's get started. Hi, I'm Bill, and welcome to one more video. So my webcam crashed on me when I was in the process of making this video. So right now I'm doing something I haven't done before. I've got my Fuji X-H2S, and I've got it working with OBS Studio. So we'll see how this goes. But the purpose of this video is a couple of comments that I got to a video that I released the other day titled How I Add Projects Using N.I.N.A Target Scheduler. And I got a couple of comments here. One from Gunter, who says, very good, thanks Bill. I'm in the process of using Target Scheduler more and more. I would also be interested, how do you set up a Mosaic in Target Scheduler? And then Antonio said, hi Bill, I was introduced to Target Scheduler by watching your videos. Could you make a video on how to design a Mosaic with Target Scheduler? So that's what we're going to do here, and hopefully my Fuji camera setup doesn't crash on me or anything along the way. So let's go over to my Edge HD8. It's down in Starfront Observatories, Rockwood, Texas, so we'll use that. And where we would start, or where I start, is I start in Sky Atlas. So what I thought, I would use the Pac-Man Nebula just for this demo. So I think that is NGC 281. And here we have it, this one here. And if I look over on this other screen from time to time, I just want to make sure everything's still being recorded. So here it is. And then I am going to select Set for Framing Assistant. I thought about buying another webcam, but then I said, you know, I've got these Fuji cameras, why don't I just use them? It's time to make them more productive. Alright, so here we have, and as you can see, this is my Edge HD8 with the ZWO ASI 533mm cooled camera. It doesn't fit in one frame, so you know, we see the box for the field of view. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to shoot a Mosaic. And so what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, and as you see the camera parameters, it understands what my camera is and everything, as I would expect. Your instance of N.I.N.A, you may have one profile, you may have two, but you would select the proper profile. And you can see the focal length is 1422. So we're going to come down here to targets, and we're going to add some panels. So I think a 2x2 is probably going to work. So there's a 2 and there's a 2. So as you see, we have 4 panels. Now as far as panel overlap, I use 20%, but like so much in amateur astrophotography, there's no controlling authority. You are the master of your domain. You get to choose whatever overlap you want to use. Through trial and error, I find that when I'm processing in PixInsight, the 20% overlap works okay for me. So that's what we're going to use there. But I'm going to move this around just a little bit. Probably I want to catch some of the dust up near the top there. So I think I'm pretty much okay with that. And let me just make sure that when I move this, the coordinates are moving. No, they're not. Okay, so let's set this here. Yeah, okay, now we're seeing the proper coordinates. All right, so you see down here, we're 2x2, 2 horizontal, 2 vertical. And then down in this area here, you see the 4 panels with the corresponding coordinates for each panel. So at this point, we're good on this screen. So now we're going to come over to the plugin area. We're going to go to Target Scheduler. I'm going to open Target Management. And I only have one profile here, and that's the Edge HD 1422 with the 533mm. So we're going to open that up. And again, if you saw in my video how I add targets, these higher level categories are totally arbitrary. You can name them whatever you want. This is what I've chosen. But I do have one set up for Mosaic projects. So a category for Mosaic projects. And what is unique about that is there is a flag or a parameter that you could set to true or false, asking whether this is a Mosaic project, and I have it set to true. So it knows it's a Mosaics. Unlike my narrowband projects where I have Mosaic projects set to false. So again, this is arbitrary. You get to do it the way you would like to do it. So okay, so we have here, and now if we look up along the top here, there's this down arrow and it says import Mosaic panels from the framing assistant. So again, framing assistant, there's our panels. Go back here and we're going to hit that down button. Add 4 Mosaic panels as new targets to project Mosaic projects. Yes. And then here we go, we see our 4 panels. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the first panel and we're going to edit. And what we're going to do is we have the coordinates already for panel 1. So I'm going to add an exposure plan or create an exposure plan. So I have built several exposure templates. Okay. Oh, that's because I've got edit open here. So let me close that. If we go into the profiles, here are all my current exposure templates. So what I'm going to do is, since this is narrowband, I'm going to shoot separate stars. And so I'm going to use stars, stars R, stars G, stars B. I'm going to use narrowband HA, narrowband S2, and for this particular target, I am going to choose oxygen 3, or O3 I call it, 300 seconds, but I only want that filter used when there's no moon. Again, maybe you're comfortable shooting O3 when the moon is up. Again, this is a have it your way hobby. You get to do what you would like to do, but for my kind of standards, what I have found by exploring and experimenting over the years, that I like now to shoot O3 when the moon is not up, as well as I shoot my stars when the moon is not up. So okay, so let's get back up to panel 1, and again, I got to go into edit mode, and let's add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got R, G, B. I'm going to get all the filter names showing first. We're going to do NBHA, narrowband S2. Again, arbitrary on the naming. And I'm going to go O3. So I know that when it comes to shooting 30-second exposures for stars, I'm going to take 30 for each filter of the RGB. And then at this point, I don't know how much data I'm going to collect for narrowband. And the nice thing about Target Scheduler is I can start with a number, not having to put a lot of thought into it. And then as I acquire the data, I like to run it through quick and dirty through PixInsight, which is what I use. Run it through Blink, and then I'll do the WBPP, and and then I see what I get, and if I like what I get, maybe I'm done. But maybe I want more of a filter, or I want more of all the filters for narrowband, and it's very easy to adjust in Target Scheduler. So here I'm just going to say for this, let's just start with 40. So I don't know, you do the math because I'm not real good at it, but 40 times 5, that's a couple hours, I think. So we'll start there, and then down. So we're going to save that. So we got 30-second exposures for the stars, and then 40 5-minute exposures per narrowband filter. So we're going to save that, and then we're going to come down here. Now there are global parameters that you can set in Target Scheduler. I tend to put them at the lower project specific level or target specific level. And so what I'm going to do is and there's a lot of debate on this. Again, you are the master of your domain, no controlling authority in amateur astronomical imaging or astrophotography. You get to do it your way. This is the way I do it. My sequence will be 30 seconds red, 30 seconds green, 30 seconds blue, 300 seconds HA, 300 seconds S2, 300 seconds O3, and then I'm going to do a dither. Now, you like to take 2 of each filter, 3, 5, you get to do what you want to do. For me, I'm very comfortable with this, and I like the results it produces for me, and I'm okay with it. So we're going to save this. All right, so we have our first exposure plan set up for panel 1. So now what we're going to do is we are going to copy, and then we're going to go into panel 2, and you may notice here that the paste icon is highlighted, so we're just going to go paste, and you see that it has duplicated what I had, and it also has duplicated what we're going to do as far as how often we're going to dither. All right, and then I am going to go into panel 3. I'm going to hit the paste. Everything looks right. Go to panel 4. Hit the paste. Okay, and so now what we've done very easily, we have set up a 4-panel mosaic for the Pac-Man Nebula, and that's really about it. Now you can go in and you can edit each individual number of desired exposures, and that's totally up to you. And again, when all the panels have collected the desired amount of exposures, then it will move this target to inactive, which means that Target Scheduler will consider this project complete based upon what I've requested as far as exposures per filter, per panel, and all that. But I can very easily make that project active again by going in and saying, okay, maybe 40 exposures per filter for narrowband was not enough, so let me go bump that up to 50, And once I do that on a per panel basis, it'll bring the project active again, which means Target Scheduler knows I want more data, so it will then again consider it for scheduling on a night that I'm imaging. All right, so that's about it. And now we can just go up and check Scheduler Preview. This target should be maybe scheduled tonight if I were to image, because its transit is starting to come into view. But let's see what Target Scheduler is thinking for tonight. Yep, and there we have it. So based upon my projects, and one thing I should mention is if you look at Mosaic projects, there is a parameter that you can select, and I have priority high for Mosaics, whereas if we look at let's say RGB targets, I have priority of normal. So that tells Target Scheduler to give preference when scheduling based upon a whole host of other parameters. Is the moon up? Is the moon down? Those type of things. But give my Mosaic projects priority when scheduling. And that, again, is something that you can work with and learn about, and if you're not already familiar with that. So, okay, so let's go back to what Scheduler Preview is indicating. Now, sometimes what you get in Scheduler Preview may change, but I have found most times it is it's consistent. What it has there, it is going to execute. Now, maybe where I'm at, down at Starfront Observatories, they close the roof, and then when they close the roof, my sequence goes into a shutdown mode and then brings everything down in an orderly, controlled fashion for the night, and then turns off the PC. Or in this case, I'm using a B-Link PC on my Red Cat 51. I'm using the Prima Luce Lab Eagle 5S. So anyway, tonight looks like some more time on M17 panel 1. Let's just go take a quick look at that. And we're going to go into Mosaic projects. So, you know, here is where I am complete. Now, I think I am running with a 25% overage. So there is a way to set, as I understand it, if I say 50, give me 50 plus 25% more. So that's kind of how I have the parameter set up. Now there's just a lot of flexibility on how you want to do this. So panel 1 needs a few more exposures. You can see per filter what the percent complete is. Panel 2 needs a bunch of exposures. Panel 3 has met the goal of the exposures that I requested, and then panel 4 has also met the desired amount plus the overage that I've asked for that. So there it is. It's scheduled to run tonight. Now, of course, if you're building a Mosaic on a target, but it's transit, you know, I mean, you can work very far in advance in building your project list in Target Scheduler. You know, so maybe you're building your project list for a target that may not come into view for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, however you might like that to be. So again, pretty straightforward. Sky Atlas, find your target, send it to Framing Wizard. There's Framing Wizard. you'd start with just one frame there, and then you increase the number of horizontal and vertical panels that you want. Then you go into target management, and as you saw there, I went up here, I hit this down arrow to import Mosaic panels from the framing assistant. You saw it added these panels, and you might notice here, up here, I have panel 1 stars, panel 2 stars. I was separating stars as a separate target. I no longer do that. I just build one exposure plan where we're going to do stars, we're going to do narrow band, and when it's finished the stars, it's done for that filter. So anyway, hopefully this has been helpful, and hopefully the quality of this recording is going to be good now that I'm working with the other camera. But very easy to do mosaics in a target scheduler. Personally, I try to avoid mosaics. I've done a few Cygnus Loop and a couple others, I think, or at least I did Cygnus Loop. I'll be doing M17 here once all the data collection is stopped or has been completed. And why not? I'm going to do Pac-Man. And I may not collect as much data as I normally would on a target, but I'm going to leave it in the queue and collect data for it. So really an exceptional plug-in from my perspective. And again, I used this when I was a traveler. You know, now that I'm on a pier at Starfront, I get even more value out of it. But even when I was a traveler, what Target Scheduler allowed me to do was to get the maximum value out of a night of darkness. I didn't have to sit and figure out, you know, when I'm building an advanced sequence and those type of things, how many of this tonight and that, and am I doing multiple targets and all that. So, you know, some nights Target Scheduler has 6 targets scheduled to optimize the work that's available out of the night. You know, and some things that will influence which targets get time in a night, what is the minimum altitude that the target has to be, and those type of things. So again, good documentation provided by Tom Palmer, and you know, I really enjoy it. It makes my life a lot easier, and I like how everything rolls up and gives me an idea. You know, I was doing one of these things before. I was trying to track it in a spreadsheet and those type of things, and then I was trying to, what else was I doing there? Yeah, you know, it was just a lot of manual work, and you know, Target Schedule gives me a very good accounting of where I'm at on any project as far as percent complete, and just makes my life very easy. So, all right, well, Gunter and Antonio, if you see this, hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, just let me know via the comments or whatever. And again, if you want to spend some time over a Google Meet or something like that, I'm also open to that. I believe so much in Target Scheduler that you know, I'm like an evangelist, you know, on my own, and because it really changed the way I worked, and how much value I can get out of a night of darkness. So anyway, thanks again for dropping into the channel. As always, leave comments, suggestions, those type of things. Other than that, I hope this whole thing recorded properly in OBS Studio, because I really don't want to make it again. So thanks again for dropping into the channel. If there's any interest on how I connect to my devices at Starfront, using zero-tier software-defined network, and how I handle the data at the end of the night, which is really the morning my time, to move them to my local computers. If there's any interest in that, let me know, and I'll put a video together on that. Otherwise, wherever you may be in the world, I hope that the weather and skies are how you want them when you want to go out there and image. Okay, thanks again. Till next time.